Hello everyone, and welcome to today's session on Your Safety Matters. In this session, we'll explore the risks associated with social media, harmful trends, and behaviors like steroid use, radicalization, gambling, and vaping. Learn how these issues impact your well-being and discover practical tips to protect your mental and physical health in today's digital world. Social media is a powerful tool we use daily, but it comes with hidden risks that affect both our mental and physical health. Platforms like Instagram and TikTok are designed to keep us hooked using techniques that exploit dopamine, the brain chemical linked to reward. While it's fun to connect online, excessive use can overstimulate our brains, leading to anxiety, stress, and impulsive decision-making.
We now know that many of the major social media companies hire individuals called attention engineers, who borrow principles from Las Vegas casino gambling, among other places, to try to make these products as addictive as possible.
You don't realize it, but you are being programmed.
Social media tools are designed to be addictive.
And it's dopamine that is driving that addiction. So what happens with social media is the magic of maybe. When you look at your phone and maybe there's a text there and maybe there's not, and you don't know, when it shows up, that high you get, that's dopamine. It's the magic of maybe. That is roughly the same amount of dopamine as you're getting from cocaine.
So we know from the research literature that the more you use social media, the more likely you are to feel lonely or isolated. We know that the constant exposure to your friends' carefully curated positive portrayals of their life can leave you to feel inadequate and can increase rates of depression.
We curate our lives around this perceived sense of perfection because we get rewarded in these short-term signals, hearts, likes, thumbs up, and we conflate that with value and we conflate it with truth.
Social media also promotes misinformation and harmful trends like eating disorders and self-harm. Constant exposure to perfect images and influences can lead to unhealthy comparisons, especially when algorithms show content focused on extreme dieting or thinness. Studies have linked social media to eating disorders like anorexia and bulimia, and even well-meaning fitness content can trigger unhealthy thoughts about body image. Social media also normalizes self-harm, with content that glamorizes dangerous behaviors and coping mechanisms. These trends have serious consequences, as eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of any mental illness, and self-harm is often tied to depression and anxiety. So, what can we do? First, curate your feed by unfollowing accounts that make you feel bad about yourself. Seek positive spaces that promote self-acceptance and mental health. Support friends who are struggling and encourage them to talk to a trusted adult or professional. Finally, use social media mindfully by limiting screen time, especially if it affects your mood or thoughts.
Here's the thing. The world we live in isn't real. Social media isn't real. And by design, social media rewards us for showing our best life. The edited, posed, champagne, Michelin star, holiday, orchestrated best angle of our life, the highlight reel. But you don't ever see real life, the 99% of our lives, the behind the scenes, the unglamorous, unfiltered, day-to-day, bland normality. And you end up comparing your behind the scenes to other people's fake highlight reel and using others as a mirror or benchmark for how you should look, how successful you should be, or how you should live. These fake comparisons will only serve to make you feel inadequate and inferior to something that isn't even real. Research continually shows that comparing your life to someone else's creates envy, low self-confidence, low self-esteem, and depression. You compare yourself to other people every single day, consciously or subconsciously, and no matter what I say, you're not going to stop because comparing one thing to another is a natural human thing to do. The answer isn't to stop making comparisons because unfortunately we can't control that, but you have to change the object of your comparison. From someone else to yourself. You have to measure yourself against yourself. And by doing this, you start at a base point where you consider yourself to be perfectly fine exactly how you are. But it also is the most effective, motivating, and healthy way to work to improve yourself. You'll become your happier self when you stop putting pressure on yourself to be more like someone else, and when you start comparing real to real.
Another growing concern among young people today is the use of steroids. Steroids are synthetic substances that mimic testosterone, helping muscles grow. While they can be prescribed by doctors for medical reasons, many, especially in fitness and bodybuilding, use them to enhance their appearance quickly. However, steroid use is dangerous. It can disrupt the body's natural hormones, causing side effects like acne, liver damage, mood swings, and heart issues. Steroids can also lead to anxiety, depression, and an unhealthy obsession with body image. Real health comes from balance, not shortcuts. Focus on building a positive body image and prioritizing health over appearance. What matters most is how you feel, not how you compare to others online.
500,000 young people, predominantly men, are using steroids in the UK.
If you start and push things, there's going to be repercussions.
They're incredibly easy to get hold of.
You're starting a journey that you can never win.
Anabolic steroids mimic testosterone, the male hormone. They are taken to increase muscle mass and improve performance, but without proper guidance can be seriously dangerous.
There are some people online that have adverse effects. We see things like acne, bloating, we see blood pressure, we see all of these bad things.
The worst side effects I've seen firsthand is someone who came into a shop where I was working and his kidneys were functioning at 7% and his liver was basically failing.
Increasingly there's hashtags which is driving these algorithms and presenting this distorted image of what the ideal body shape and look and physique should look like.
The warning for young men though, be careful.
Staying at home in the best years of your lives, eating chicken and broccoli out of a Tupperware, just so that you can get more double taps on Instagram from strangers that you don't like, isn't living, although the amount of engagement you get on social media can make it feel that way.
Social media can influence how we make decisions and makes us more likely to believe misinformation, fake news, and extreme ideas. Through targeted ads, posts, and videos, social media can shape our opinions and sometimes lead to radicalization.
Radicalization is when an individual or group adopt extreme political, social, or religious views that can lead to violence and in some cases participation in terrorist groups or acts. It can be motivated by a range of factors, including ideologies, religious beliefs, political beliefs, and prejudices against particular groups of people. People can be radicalized in many different ways, by friends, sometimes even by family members, or more increasingly in the online space. This can be due to other people's influence, or even by self-radicalization. Radicalization can take as little as a few days, weeks, or it may take several years. Children and young people in Scotland and the UK are being targeted for radicalization.
It's important to spot the warning signs of radicalization. These could include a sudden obsession with divisive topics, withdrawing from family or friends, or sharing extremist content. Recognizing these changes early can help prevent someone from going further down this path. So, what can we do? First, stay informed about how social media algorithms work. Second, approach conversations with empathy. Judgment often pushes people further into extreme groups. And lastly, report harmful content when you see it. Platforms have tools for flagging dangerous material. Always think carefully about what you see online. Who made it? Why did they make it? Does it spread hate or try to make people fight? Asking questions and being curious can help protect you from being influenced in a bad way. Gambling is also affecting many young people, especially with the rise of online casinos, sports betting apps, and mobile games. While it may seem fun, it carries serious risks, such as losing more money than one can afford, leading to debt and financial instability. It can also harm mental health, causing stress, anxiety, and depression, especially if someone becomes addicted.
With more teens gambling online, one 18-year-old is now sharing his struggle with addiction, saying he got hooked at 15.
If you have a phone on you and you have connection to the internet, you can gamble whenever you want.
Steve asked to be in shadow, to use a different name and alter his voice to hide his identity.
All it took was playing dice. From there, it just kind of grew.
He tells Good Morning America he won a couple $100, calling that his first high.
Teenagers and young people are significantly at higher risk of developing gambling disorder than adults. in part because their brains are not fully developed. Their ability to evaluate risk, their ability to handle loss isn't as secure as an adult.
Steve says he became obsessed with sports betting, accessing legal sites by using other people's accounts who were of age. Steve's father now warning other parents just how quickly gambling can become an obsession for teens, a warning echoed by experts.
Our culture is seeing young adults raised in a society where gambling is the norm, and people don't think of it as risky anymore.
Finally, we're going to talk about drink spiking and the dangers of vaping.
Spiking someone's drink can make a person seriously vulnerable and be very dangerous for the health of the person whose drink is spiked. Drink spiking can involve a variety of substances being added to a drink. This includes alcohol, date rape drugs, illegal drugs, and prescription drugs. Drink spiking is a serious crime and can carry a maximum prison sentence of 10 years. Any drink can be spiked, alcoholic and non-alcoholic. These drugs can also be odorless, colorless, and tasteless. It's a scary experience, and it's important to be able to recognize the signs your drink has been spiked, or how to help someone you suspect has been a victim. Keep an eye out for lowered inhibitions, loss of balance, confusion, feeling sleepy, visual problems, or feeling sick. If you or a friend start to feel strange or more drunk than you should be, get help straight away, tell the venue, and call an ambulance. Drink spiking can happen in any situation, at home or on a night out. Ensuring all venues are safe from assault and harassment, such as drink spiking, is a collective responsibility.
If you suspect your drink has been spiked, there are some things you should do. Get to safety. Tell the people you're with, so that they can look after you. Alert a member of staff or security if you're in a bar, club, or at a festival. Make sure you are somewhere where you feel safe, for example, by asking a friend to take you home or stay with you. Don't go home on your own or leave with someone you don't know. Drink some water, but don't try to flush out any drugs or alcohol by drinking lots of water. If someone has spiked a friend, follow the steps we just covered. Stay with them. Keep talking to them until emergency medical assistance arrives or you get them to a place of safety. Some venues participate in a scheme called Ask for Angela. You can ask for Angela at the bar if you feel unsafe, vulnerable, or threatened and need a discreet way of asking for support.
E-cigarettes, or vapes, are battery-operated devices that produce vapor instead of smoke. And instead of being packed with tobacco, they have cartridges filled with a liquid that contains flavorings and nicotine. Vapes haven't gone through a health and safety review yet, but that hasn't stopped big companies from making all sorts of unfounded claims and tempting you to try them. Meanwhile, the science is in. Researchers have found harmful ingredients in vapes, including ultrafine particles that can damage the lungs, oils and flavorings that are linked to serious lung disease, volatile organic compounds like benzene, which is found in car exhaust, and poisonous metals like nickel, tin, and lead. And then there's nicotine, which is extremely addictive and especially bad for young people because of the way the brain works. Our brains grow rapidly until we reach our mid-20s, and using nicotine while it's still developing can disturb this process and increase our risk for addiction and mental health issues later in life. This is because nicotine affects synapse formation in the parts of the brain that control attention and learning, which can lead to memory issues, mood disorders, and lower impulse control permanently. Kids who use nicotine in middle and high school are more likely to use cigarettes and other drugs in the future. Young people who vape are 4 times more likely to go on to smoke cigarettes than those who don't, and juuling delivers way more nicotine than smoking. A single Juul pod is equivalent to 20 cigarettes, which makes all of these risks even more dramatic.
Thank you all for joining today's session, Your Safety Matters. I hope you learned something useful about the risks of social media, harmful trends, and behaviors like steroid use, gambling, radicalization, and vaping. These challenges can affect your health, but by staying informed, making smart choices, and supporting each other, we can stay safe and healthy. Remember, even small steps, like limiting screen time, talking to someone you trust, or helping a friend, can make a big difference. If you ever feel worried or need support, remember that the pastoral support team at the college is always here to help. Don't hesitate to reach out if you need someone to talk to or advice. Thank you for taking the time to care about your well-being today. Stay safe and look out for each other.